Sunday night. I got to tell you guys, we'll do some extreme ownership here. First of all, I am at my house in Westwood, New Jersey. You can see my beautiful mother over my left-hand shoulder and my father, I'm not going to call him beautiful, looking husky in this photo while he played for the Jersey Generals. This is Billy Ray Mitchell. I'm here in Westwood, New Jersey. We got Pat Finn. He is in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. And
Far Hills, dude. Far Hills. Get hip to the new spot.
Far Hills. So I was close to getting Far Hills correct. Look, it has been, we got to own something here. No preview for Miami. I don't even think we talked about Florida State. And here we are. We're about to talk about the Miami game. Look, this was one of the greatest weeks of my life. I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to lay it all out there. I'm going to do my best not to make this a Franklin fest, because we're going to have about 9 months of that over the off season. We'll talk about it a little bit, but it's been a complete whirlwind the last 7 days. As far as this football game is concerned, we will talk about it, but it's the first time we've ever missed a preview and a post game. Is it? Since 2019? I can't remember any time we've done that.
Raise your hand if you care. Man, they didn't break down Carson Beck. They didn't break down the Castellanos game.
We had a couple tweets, dude. People were like, where is the preview? And I didn't want to call attention to it, but I was almost going to be like, do you guys really want that? I came very close to doing like a selfie style video preview.
I didn't know that was I didn't know there was demand for that. See,
dude, of course, dude. People, not to strokey my Hokie here, but people want to listen. People are fired up. But no, I'm glad to see the guys are practicing, still getting ready to roll, but it was very difficult to do anything but just inject James Franklin excitement into the veins. And look, it's a very exciting time to be a Hokie. I feel like we've seen so many tweets of there's never been a better time to be a Hokie. I think it's actually true this time. I think it's the first time that you could say that is true in some time.
At least in the last 10 years.
That's right.
I'm sure those folks who are in New Orleans on January 3rd were pretty fired up about being Hokies.
At least in my conscientious Hokie following lifetime. Look, let's talk about this game. We sleepwalked the entire first half. We brought back Stick It In. It was a great environment. We, I think, eliminated Miami from the playoffs, as Theo Riddick mentioned like 75 times. I saw a hilarious tweet today. It was like Virginia Tech rushes for 5 yards, Theo Riddick on the broadcast. If you're looking to impress the committee, you can't give up 5 yards there. Like, he talks about it like the entire broadcast.
It was the whole narrative of the broadcast. It was the whole thing. How many points does Miami need to win by? Didn't cover. Not enough.
Meanwhile, while Miami was playing with their, I don't even want to call it food, because that's dismissive of Coach Montgomery and kind of how this team has been fighting, but Notre Dame beat Syracuse 70-7. Look, the games matter 100%. I'm before this football game was played, I was like, look, like, are we just going to forget that Notre Dame lost to this Miami team? Notre Dame very clearly has gotten better, and Miami has gotten, I don't want to say worse, but they haven't gotten better. So I think we definitely had a hand in probably eliminating Miami from the playoffs.
Is Miami actually eliminated?
I don't think they're eliminated, but I think from like a narrative perspective, like, I think most college football fans, if they're both going to be an at-large bid, there's really no decision to be had between Miami and Notre Dame. At least for me. I think coming into this week, a lot of people were like, wait, Notre Dame lost to Miami. And now you watch this result and it's like, okay, I think we can put that to bed now. So at least that's what I thought.
We'll see what happens. A lot can happen in the next 2 weeks, Billy Ray.
True.
A lot can happen. We don't even know who's going to go to the ACC championship yet.
Mm-hmm. We have a hand in that as well.
We do know that Virginia Tech wore some great uniforms. Dialed up the Hokie Stone unis for a special game with all the recruits in town. First one for Franklin. ESPN noon game. I mean, when was the last time you actually were like watching game day and then it turned into a Tech game? Oh, like ESPN's covering Enter Sandman, and it's not Thursday night.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
I thought
rarity.
this whole week was a complete Virginia Tech commercial, which was awesome. Loved every single second of it. I loved bringing back out the Hokie Stone uniforms. I'm a fan of them. I do think that they look way better up close and in photos than they do on a broadcast, but I think they look great regardless. So when I was thinking about this game, I really thought about this. Miami's a better team than we are. They're more talented than we are. They have more to play for than we do. I wanted us to compete for 4 quarters. I wanted the crowd to show up and to be loud. And I wanted some good individual performances as you try to basically put your best foot forward for Coach Franklin. And I think we checked all of those boxes, right? Virginia Tech is still a 3-win football team. There weren't a lot of worlds in which we were going to win this football game. So, yes, it's frustrating that in yet another football game, we completely forgot how to play football for half of the game. But it coming down to lining up for that onside kick, and you're like, are we gonna make a game out of this? Like, I think anybody would have signed a contract to be in a position to be kicking that onside kick in that point.
How about that? Get the pop throw down the sideline, get the pop touchdown, get the pop unsportsmanlike conduct. Recover the onside kick. Here we go. And that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Bummer that they extended the lead to 17. Very athletic catch there towards the end. Super athletic wide receivers on Miami. I think this is how this podcast is going to play out, Billy Ray. I don't think we're going to talk for very long tonight. We'll get some spark notes from the Miami game. We'll make a small case for Pop Watson to be Saturday's starting quarterback. And at the end, we'll do the Franklin segment. And we will read our favorite responses and select a winner for this week's Jack and Coke Roback winner from social media. Had a lot of good people telling us their favorite moment of the James Franklin saga and what it means to them. So should be a fun pod. Vibes are good. We got Thanksgiving this week. We got Hate Week. Big one on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Tough
Feast
time.
week.
Tough. Feast week as well. Tough kickoff time, objectively. And you want to kick us off with some poetry?
I can do that. This one comes from OK. Not very creative on the name. Creative on the haiku, though. Lane is still my shrine. First time back there since 07. Better days coming. Love to see that. I think a lot of
long. That is a big lag between. Big lag time between games in Lane Stadium. That is 18 years.
Can you please tweet us back with the compelling event that got you there? If it was James Franklin, that's pretty amazing, because there was some good football from 2007 to 2012. So you would have had to throw in the towel a little earlier than everybody else and then get back on board. Or I don't know what your situation was, Mr. OK. And then this one comes from our friend Ann Castle. She's got to be having a ton of fun. Tough loss for the women's basketball team today. Lost to JMU. But men's basketball team looks great. Up until today, women's basketball team looks great. Football team headed in the right direction. Her haiku, MVs have been freed. Could barely believe my ears. Stick it in. Is back. I'll tell you what. Kind of had to be worth the price of admission for a lot of the folks that went. I really, it's almost like there's a really inappropriate meme that I've been quoting a lot. You all might be familiar with it. I'm not going to say it on here, but it's amazing how so many times you're like, wow, things can literally not get any better. And they just keep getting better. Oh, we're bringing Stick It In back. That's awesome. Oh, we have a top 3 salary pool in America. Oh, our basketball team continues to rise in Ken Pop. Like it just continues. Continues to get better.
Another Bo Bassett peer committed to Virginia Tech's wrestling program.
Yeah, like it's getting quite preposterous. So thank you for the haiku suggestions. Okay, please send us a tweet letting us know why this was the I wonder what the opposite of the straw that broke a camel's back is. Maybe we'll find out. Where did we watch? Where did we tailgate? I watched this on the Plesha couch And then I listened to Mike Burnup in the fourth quarter as we were driving down to the marriage of Drew Flora and Grace Drahosel. Shout out to them, 2 Hokies. Had an awesome time at Raspberry something. Can't remember the full name, but it was in beautiful Leesburg, Virginia. I had an awesome time.
Is it Raspberry Falls?
Yes, Raspberry Falls. We were over by Lansdowne. We went there for the after party. Very nice. Very nice.
Raspberry Falls. Never got to play that golf course, but when I worked in Reston, several coworkers would mention that was their Saturday or Sunday place to play 18. I watched the game on the couch at the Rafferty's house. The couch effect was real on Saturday. Kensington, Maryland, ordered some Lido's pizza. Lido, big University of Maryland pizza affiliate. Watched the Hokies, watched Maryland. I thought Maryland was going to put up more of a fight than they did against Michigan. That was tough. But honestly, not that great football on Saturday, Billy Ray. You had a great day to go to a wedding, I will say. If you weren't going to Tech, there was not that many good football games on.
I was listening to Solid Verbal on the way back today because I had plenty of driving to do. And yeah, there just wasn't that many interesting things going on. If like you're talking yourself into like, yo, the big game this week is Pitt, Georgia Tech. And that game for the most part sucked. So yeah, it was a good weekend to have
SEC.
To have weddings, and it was cupcake week for the SEC. So just not a lot of interesting stuff going on. Look, in all, Hokies were outscored 20-3 in the first half. This has been going on for a long time. We actually tied them 14-14 in the second half. It's so frustrating to play really solid football for stretches and then play really like dog water football for stretches, but that's kind of what we've been becoming accustomed to. With that said, like I said at the top, Miami is a far superior team. We did not get lambasted like a lot of people thought. I mean, in the group chat this week, it's like, who's ready to lose to Miami by 1,000 points? That didn't happen. Hokies covered. Crowd looked pretty good. Had a reason to turn on the TV, and I was turning up Bill Roth in the car on the way to the wedding. So, again, short of winning the actual game, which would be crazy, you can't really ask for that much more. I think the team continues to play hard. I think the team continues to try their best. And right now, that's really all you can ask for. So the difference is for Pat, the last 7 years of doing this, saying the team is trying hard wasn't enough because there was no real exciting thing to look forward to on the horizon. And now for the first time in a long time, we have that. So not as mad as I would normally be in this situation.
I think really you got to be fired up about a few things from this football game.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, the running game.
Yeah.
Like, what do we need to do to make sure that Marcellus Hawkins and Jeff Overton are in this backfield next year?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Overton was a man on fire with the football in his hands, scoring his first touchdown as a Hokie. He even kind of like tripped up when he was in the end zone, recovered, and had a pretty enthusiastic celebration. And then Marcellus Hawkins setting the tone early, ran for, a 30-plus yard run, explosive play on the first offensive drive of the game. That was great. I think Aiden Green had his best game as Virginia Tech Hokie. Only 2 times this year has he caught 5 balls in a game. This Miami game here, 5 catches, 95 yards. The only other game he had more than 4 was the South Carolina game, week 1. What
he
did
just
you
hasn't
see
had a lot of chances to catch a lot of balls. That's the part that sucks. So he's had definitely his most productive game. You'd have to go and watch how many routes he won without getting the ball to say he played better in any other game. I think that's been the most frustrating part for us as a viewer and for him as a runner of routes.
95 yards. I mean, when was the last time a wide receiver wearing orange and maroon had over 100 yards? It's probably been a really long time. What do you think of Jeff Overton?
I think Jeff Overton, man, is a guy that's running extremely angry. I think Jeff Overton is a guy that obviously worked his tail off to come back from that ACL injury that he saw. A lot of people forget that he injured himself in that bowl prep time. I'll say this, and this kind of goes into my next point. So one of my statistics were the Hokies rushed for 194 yards, which is the most that Miami has given up all year. The most frustrating part is that the running backs deserve a lot of credit. So does the offensive line. So on one hand, I'm like, dude, Matt Moore, really good job taking a bunch of pieces, making them gel. It's just the difference between like how effectively we run block at some points and how awful we are at pass blocking at other points is pretty frustrating. But Jeffrey Overton, man, have yourself a couple of weeks. That's a guy playing like he's been working his tail off to get back in there. So that's awesome. A couple of other statistics that are not great. Carson Beck was 28 of 33. I believe he started 12 of 12 or 11 of 11. Like, he was great. Carson Beck was awesome in this football game. His first incompletion was just a straight up drop by a tight end for Miami. It should have been a touchdown. It was an awesome play by Thomas Williams. He knocked the ball out. But Carson Beck was great. We were 3 of 12 on third down. That's not going to get it done. And also Miami scored on their first 5 drives of the football game. That's also not going to get it done. So those are pretty frustrating. Another thing that jumped off the screen for me was Malachi Toney. I mean, this guy, he's a freshman. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of Fort Lauderdale. He's 5'11", 188, 146 receiving yards, 12 catches and a touchdown. And he also completed a pass for 15 yards. If you've been watching Miami at all this year, like if you watched Miami play Louisville or, I've just dabbled in a little bit of Miami, he's been great. Like, he is phenomenal. And what's crazy is, oh man, Miami's got another super awesome, talented guy. This guy was a 3-star. Like, he wasn't one of the best players in their recruiting class. For him to come in as a freshman and be this effective is extremely, extremely, extremely impressive. He also has a foundation that he set up, so he's uplifting the community. Good guy, easy to root for. He absolutely obliterated some poor chick on the sideline in this game. I hope she's okay.
Dude.
Yeah.
Inches away from death, that girl.
So when you say that, did her head almost hit the bench? I didn't see, like, what happened.
She was completely flushed against the air, but if she was 6 inches to her left or her right, she would have collided with the bar.
Oh, my God.
It could have been really gruesome and really bad. So that was in real time. That was crazy, Billy.
She popped up too. Shout out, like, gritty performance out of her. But yeah, that was definitely a scary moment. We already talked about sticking in. I got to tell you, that was one of the highlights of the game for me, besides our rushing game. Hearing that on the television broadcast was fantastic. It was like one of those moments where everybody in the living room kind of looked at each other as like, oh my gosh, they really playing that right now? So that was cool. Feel like we've been sitting on that one for a while. I hope it's here to stay. I hope it's here to be a part for a long, long time. So we will see how that goes there. Let's see. Let's punt it over to the offense, the Virginia Tech offense. 395 yards. It's pretty surprising we had that many. It certainly didn't feel like it. 17 points. I'll just say it. Pretty surprising to be sitting here on November 23rd with the scoring streak intact. We do have one more game coming up here. And Pat, we actually did just clip out a long conversation and dialogue about this. It's been trimmed down, but here's what I do want to say. When we were going back and forth, the most frustrating part is there are flashes with this offense where the ball does move up and down the field. I also think that it needs to be pointed out that Philip Montgomery does a tremendous job scripting our first drive. I think this is the 3rd week in a row that we get the ball right down to the other side of the football field. But man, what is the total this year? So we are averaging 22.7 points per game. It's the lowest total since 2022, and we average 19.3 points per game.
That's 107th in all of FBS.
Yeah, it's tough. It is a tough situation. What is not tough? The rushing attack, again, the most that Miami's given up all year. Hawkins, 8 carries for 72 yards. Overton, 7 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown. Terrion Stewart, only 3 carries. I understand we can't hand it off every single time. We should consider doing that. just as an aside, I'm actually going to let you start on this because I think starting with what I have written down here would be inappropriate and not fair to the overall conversation. And I'll just ask you this question. Who should start the game this next week at quarterback?
What is your outcome? What is your desired outcome of this football game on Saturday?
I want to win the game. And
Okay.
to win this game, we are going to have to move the ball and we are going to have to score points.
Okay. So the guy who has been our starter all year went, it was the same stat line as it's been the last 6 weeks. It's like he completes 10 passes for like 129 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe an interception, and runs the ball for like 40 yards. And then Pop Watson comes in, throws the ball 3 times, and almost matches Kyron Drones' offensive total in 2 passes. Fires a dart down the sideline to Aiden Green, and then is in the end zone a few plays later. It was a spark. Is that a spark that's going to be consistent for 4 quarters? Don't know. Don't know why we wouldn't try it out. Why would we not try it out on Saturday?
I thought you were going to say don't know, don't care, and I think that should be I think that's totally appropriate. Look, I was asked a bunch of times over the course of the last few days, do I think that the season would have gone significantly different if we had somebody else playing at quarterback? My answer to that question is no, because I think the team has a ton of deficiencies. And here's something that I tweeted out that some people liked, some people hated. I tweeted out, Kyron is playing his heart out. Shout out. A lot of people, here's the thing. If you don't think that Kyron is playing hard behind that offensive line and outmatched, we're not watching the same game. If we don't think that he's running hard, running with purpose, like we're not watching the same game. Now put that in a box. Put it over here. Okay. The problem is not effort. And the problem is not effort with this football team. The problem with this football team has never been effort. But it is the IQ of which we play this football game with. I hate that this happened. I highly doubt that it was I am choosing to believe that this is a IQ play versus a quit play. We have had about 3 or 4 times this year where it's 4th down or it's 3rd down, and we're stepping out of bounds with the football before getting to the line to gain. And the limitations and the constant just not getting the job done at the quarterback position, I think you have to try something different this week. Like, I think you have to try something different this week. To come back to, do I think the season would have gone differently? I'll be honest. I don't know if Pop Watson would have survived 12 games behind that offensive line with how they pass protect. I just don't think it would have happened. So no, I don't think this is a 6-7 win football team if we have a different quarterback. But as it pertains to this upcoming week, I think you have to see something different. I think we will see something different. As far as my tweet was concerned, I think it's a pretty good microcosm of this season. I don't think that he doesn't play hard. For whatever reason, it's not working. You have to try something different, especially in the position that we're in with 1 game left. You're not going to win this football game against UVA 17-10. I don't think. You're not going to win it 10-9. I think you're going to have to go out there and score 28, 35 points. I don't even know if we're capable of doing it, but I think we have a better chance of doing it with Pop Watson at quarterback.
Built to ass, Pop Watson. He's done it before. Granted, it was at home, but Pop Watson went out there and beat UVA all around the field.
Mm-hmm.
If Pop Watson can start on Saturday and do the same thing on their field to keep them out of the ACC championship,
legend forever.
I mean, put a statue of that guy next to Frank.
Legend forever.
And then, let's make sure while we're at it, make sure that Bud is also enshrined next to Frank.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of space on that bench.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people gave you a hard time for that tweet. I completely understand. You understand too, right? Like, why people...
No. People gave me a hard time because they're upset with how he played. But to question how hard he was playing is patently incorrect.
I don't think anyone's questioning how hard he's playing. I think your tweet saying, "Man, shout out to this guy for doing his job." Oh,
no, I
Are you looking for a reaction, or is this like this?
No,
Just
I
like, man, he is
completely
working
disagree.
so hard.
The fact that he's being asked to run into the teeth of the defense over and over and over and over again and doing so, I have a lot of respect for that. I really am not looking for a reaction whatsoever. That is how I felt about the way he was playing. If you look at some of the hits that he was taking over the course of that game, the hits that he's taken over the course of this year, and that all has to do with his limitations. He's in the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I felt about it. I thought he would. Again, it's not an effort thing; it's an ability and IQ thing, and we're not checking those boxes.
It's a bummer. It has to be this way,
right?
Like if he could hit an open receiver, then he wouldn't have to be putting his body on the line every other play. Unfortunately, I mean, sacked 4 times, 12 of 21, 3 of 20 or 3 of 12 on third downs. Pop was awesome.
Yeah.
39
Hold
yards.
on, before we move off of this, and I'm not trying to be argumentative. I am not pushing back on like
starting a new quarterback.
This, you're right. I'm not pushing back on that at all. What I'm pushing back on is the argument that the limitations with this offense are strictly at the feet of Kyron Drones. And I think a lot of people feel that way. I think a lot of people
take the pie. Take the pie.
Yeah.
What percentage of the pie is quarterback related versus offensive line, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs?
Well, I'm not able to give you like a percentage, but if I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I think are a huge problem, I think one of the most frustrating things about this past tenure was never figuring out what it took to get him to feel comfortable in a system. 2 different offensive coordinators, really talented wide receivers. I think you can chalk up the tenure as a failure to either teach or get somebody in here that is better to play that position. That's number 1. Number 2, offensive line, he has one of the highest pressure rates in all of college football. He's completely under duress 100% of the time he is at the quarterback position. Number 3, I think that there is inconsistency at the wide receiver position. That was a bigger problem at the beginning of the year than it is today. The amount of drop balls that we had at the wide receiver position in the first quarter of the year, like there was just no way to get into a rhythm. And maybe the most frustrating, up until Monty took over the team, and about 3 weeks after that, Virginia Tech didn't approach this season as like we're going to run the ball and that's going to be our identity. Like it only really was the back half of the year where we decided we're going to run the ball and that's what we're going to do, and run the ball with Kyron as well. So look, man, I think when I look at his tenure at quarterback, these are the 3 things that I'll say. 2023 was a lot of fun. And I think the biggest difference from 2023 to 2024 and 2025 is I miss the FU attitude and infectious personality that he played with in that season. Like that is my biggest qualm that I have with the quarterback position these last 3 years, because there are a bunch of other things that I think went wrong for him with coaching, consistency, offensive line, all the things we just talked about. The one part that I don't completely understand is where the guy that ran over the defensive back against Purdue is, where the guy that sought out the guy from Pittsburgh when he threw the 58-yard touchdown, sought out the other team when we played UVA and was the first guy up, and like that infectious personality is so missed on the offensive side of the ball. That is my biggest frustration point, I believe.
Yeah. It is a shame that it didn't work out the way that we wanted it to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As far as the defense is concerned, only 3 tackles for losses, 0 sacks, really no pressure the entire afternoon. It was quite maddening to watch.
I was going to say, I don't know who is more comfortable, me on the couch all afternoon or Carson Beck in the pocket.
It was a tough watch. I think Michael Turner pointed this out. We had several instances where Miami decided to run the ball, but we just weren't covering anybody on the wide receiver. Like we had a wide receiver that just was covered by nobody. Miami threw for 335 yards through the air. That's over 10 yards a clip. Carson Beck, 28 for 33. Could have been better than that if Miami avoided some drops. As far as special teams go, I know Virginia Tech's been playing from behind for a long period of time. it's a shame that we haven't been able to see John Love like kick field goals. He hasn't really been doing it the last couple of weeks because I think we're playing from behind and like going for it. When there were a couple instances where I was like, I don't really understand going for it here. We also haven't addressed this just really quickly. This goes without saying. The officiating in the ACC continues to be, this isn't even the notes. I can't believe we didn't have this written down. Like, it's crazy to me that on the broadcast, they're like, yeah, that's like a game-changing play. They just screwed it up. So we'll keep it rolling. Like it is so NJSIAA high school like officiating. And I feel like everybody has been talking about how awful it is. And everybody kind of is saying that it's unacceptable, but like clearly it is acceptable because we keep playing the games under the same guys or same situation. I don't really know what to say about it anymore.
Man. And it was the same crew from the Cal game.
I did not know that.
These ESPN crews. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And inexcusable. The fact that they called that play dead when Kyron wasn't down and the ball was in the air, let it play out. That's a game-changing play. Yeah. Honestly, it could have been a game-changing play.
Yeah.
And takes some yardage and takes a catch off the board from our guy, Aiden Green. Would have put him over 100 for the day.
Yep.
Super athletic catch, super athletic run. Horrible camera work. Really bad camera work yesterday, by the way.
Yeah. Even the other way around too, like that Jaricius Hairston catch, like obviously not good effort, obviously not a catch. And they're like, nah, dude, it's fine. Let's do it. Like these are.
Oh, I thought the angle was horrible. I thought it was
the angle was bad too.
I mean, angles because it was so fuzzy that you couldn't even tell. I thought
they were doing like this. They were doing like the zoom in thing. I feel like we've had better technology and better replays 10 years ago than we do today, which is pretty wild.
It's like, dude, we could probably take these videos on iPhones and, have better quality.
Yeah, but at least we have the ref cam, which I do like.
The ref cam is fun.
Beautiful onside kick. Stu Holt pulling out all the stops in his second to last game as the special teams coordinator, I would imagine. That was a really nice onside kick, I do have to say.
Shout out, Kyle.
We're not going to talk about the presser. Pat, where do we go from here? It's rivalry week. You've been waiting for this for a long time, dude.
We have a big game on Saturday night. We have an opportunity to ruin the season of our rivals. They have an opportunity to really make us upset just by taking the cup. I will be there. I'm excited. Billy Ray will be there. Yep. We will be there. It will be cold. We will be bundled up. And we are excited. If you have tickets and you're a Hokie, do not get rid of them. Go to the game or give them to another Hokie if you don't want to go because it's cold.
We'll help them. We'll help you find somebody to give them to. If you can't go, DM us. We'll help you. We'll help find somebody.
This is an opportunity. You have UVA fans begging people on the timeline not to sell their tickets to Hokies. Like, I'm sorry. They do not deserve an opportunity to punch their ticket to the ACC championship. They don't. Their fans don't care. They just don't care. Even the ones that do kind of like get after it and talk a little junk on X, they just don't care. So we're going to do a pod on Tuesday. I know Billy's going to announce our special guest. And it's going to be a fun weekend. And we're going to be loading social media up with our usual hate week stuff. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you guys are on the fence about going, you're like, I don't know, I don't have tickets, figure it out and get there. Like if you have the opportunity to go, if you have friends in Charlottesville or Richmond, like, even just take the day trip down from Nova, make it happen. This is me encouraging you to do it. It is Lane Stadium North for a reason. We have stormed the field the last 2 times we've been there. I'm planning on going. I'm planning on having fun. I know we are underdogs. I know that there's a great opportunity for us to be spoiler here, and you do not want to miss the opportunity if it does come to fruition. So, Billy, do you have any other notes before we jump into the finish of the pod?
No, we'll have We'll have pins. Going to be working on an event. If you are a Section 5 member, check out your email. We're putting something together for the day of that game. It's going to be a ton of fun. Look, Pat and I were going back and forth on this. I think we can both agree that 8 o'clock is not ideal. Would have loved 3:30. 3:30 would have been great. It is 8 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of football to watch before that game. It's going to be cold. Bundle up. As far as the special guest is concerned, we'll have Jake Malasek on the podcast. I believe he's coming on tomorrow, which is exciting. Also, shout out to Ed. He interviewed Toby Lawal, Neoklis Avdalas, Jaden Shute, Ben Hammond, Tyler Johnson, and Coach Frazier. Yes. So all of those interviews are going to go out this week, which is exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Said it a bunch of times. Enjoy going to Charlottesville. Usually leave with a dub. This one would probably be the funniest one of all time to leave with a dub. They got a good team. It's gonna be fun.
Exciting. Big pregame tailgate at the Richmond Zoo for all those who are in the area.
They're keeping a live tally on who's.
There's a lot you can do on Saturdays before a game at Scott Stadium, including go to the zoo and count the amount of folks wearing blue and orange.
Are you guys gonna wrestle at the game? That should be the event. You should wrestle that guy. You guys should get all lubed up and wrestle each other on the quad.
Okay. The quad, the grounds.
Whatever they call it, dude. Whatever they call it. He's like a 56th year.
Here are James Franklin notes. Brought to you by our friend Dave Phillips. Dave Phillips, he is your guy for new builds, new constructions. James Franklin's going to hire a staff. There's going to be a lot of folks out there. He's going to hire a recruiting staff. It is going to be an army. They need places to live in Blacksburg. You guys are renewing your season tickets. You guys are getting season tickets for the first time. You need a place to stay in Blacksburg, Virginia, when you come in 2026 and beyond to see this football program reach new heights of the last decade plus. You need a place, you need a home, and this is home. Make sure that you are hitting up our guy, Dave Phillips, friend of the pod, friend of the show, friend of Virginia Tech Athletics, big Hokie fan, Hokie alum. He's your guy. He is our realtor. He is our guy. And please, Phillips Real Estate, you see here on the screen, hit up our guy, Dave, when you want to find your home for 2026. James Franklin's Virginia Tech deal is worth $41.75 million. 5-year contract. It's playing out very favorably for Virginia Tech in the next 3 years here. Next year, he'll get $5.5 million. 2027, it goes down to $4.5 million. 2028, it goes down to $3.5 million. So that's less than what we were paying Coach Pry for James Franklin. And then the last 2 years are backloaded big time. He will get $25 million over these next 2 years. In 2029, it's 12.25, and in 2030, it is $12.75 million. Big time budget for James Franklin. He'll have $9.5 million for 10 assistant coaches, $6 million for support staff, $3 million for recruiting. Goodness gracious. Hit the monopoly boards. There is money falling from the sky, growing on the trees. There are incentives involved in this contract too. Anywhere from regular season wins, ACC championship appearances, CFP experiences, coach of the year, viewership bonuses. He gets $400K if Tech is second in ACC football viewership and $800K if Tech is first in viewership. It's clearly tied a lot of incentives here to viewership, which equals jostling for position, jockeying for position for a Power 2 bid at some point over the next few years here. The biggest takeaway, this puts us ahead of Alabama for support staff. We are a top 10 assistant pool for assistant coaches, and we're ahead of Alabama, which is crazy. Again, this is public schools. So like Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, they're all ahead of us. Then we're ahead of Alabama. So $6 million for support staff, $15.5 million in total. What are your takeaways, BRM? Are you excited? Or, I mean, that's a lot of money to buy a house in Blacksburg from Dave Phillips.
$8.35 million per year for James Franklin. A lot of people look, I'm gonna talk about this at length later on in the year. There are a lot of people that deserve credit. We're gonna go through the timeline of how we got here. And that goes all the way back to like Justin Fuente's flirtation with Baylor. That goes back to like so many things had to go right for this to end up here. 8.35 million is way less than I anticipated us paying Coach Franklin. I thought we were going to be closer to that like 11 or 12 per year area. And I know the Penn State buyout helps a lot. But man, shout out to this committee, shout out to the university, and shout out to Whit for stepping up to the plate and putting us in a position to be in this spot from a budget standpoint and everything else. It's tremendous, and it's the type of buy-in that we were hoping to see as a fan base, given our support level and given what we've heard from the school about caring about football and knowing how important football is. It seems like for the first time, at least since we've been doing this podcast, Pat, that the support is honestly, like, you always wish that the support is close. It feels like the support is on par with where we want to be. So pretty amazing stuff, man. It really, really is. Used to pray for days like this. So thrilled to be here, and we'll do a lot more breaking. It's a weird time because you got the football game still going on, and there's so much of this to break down, and we have an entire offseason to do that after 5 off seasons of having not that much to talk about.
The Hopium is going to be hitting like crazy.
I know.
All right, let's move on to the Roback giveaway. We solicited on social media the feelings and the impact and their favorite moments from the James Franklin hiring saga over the past couple weeks. So we're going to read out our favorites and then assign a winner. Okay? Sound good, Billy?
Sounds great.
Okay, Connor Levinson's favorite part. Let's be honest. Big Hokie Guy 12 finding Bud Foster and tracking that plane was the highlight of the search by far. I think you could definitely put that on the Mount Rushmore of the last month.
Yeah.
Within Virginia Tech lore and James Franklin hiring. AJ Jen playing with the MVs when Franklin arrived at the airport was awesome. Awesome to see him and Bud Foster in his first interaction with the fans.
Shout out, AJ. Shout out to you.
AJ. Special morning. I mean, there was a lot going on that morning. Ann Castle sent us a screenshot, or might have been a live picture. She was, I think she was at the airport. We were like, wow, this is real. And I was like, where is this? And Billy's like, dude, this is at the airport. Come on. Like, I thought you knew when he was landing. Ethan Conrad. Favorite part of the saga, Chris Long's live reaction to the hire on his podcast. Very underrated. Underrated tweet, as they say. Very well done, Ethan Conrad. Pete McGee. Best part about the saga. Finding out Bud Foster had a podcast. Yes, great hit, Pete McGee, as always. Bud's podcast with Mac. They did it, I think, on Tuesday, maybe. Listened to it last week. Great job. Shout out to Bud Foster and friends. Download it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Check it out. It's great. And Bud is keen to a good story on Foster and friends. All right, we'll do this last one. Ethan Chavez. James Franklin not answering anyone until he got a, hey, how are you, back during the press conference.
Let me just say, some people were giving him some flack for that. I loved it personally. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I don't really understand the zag. I also strongly encourage all media members, Sons of Saturday media members included. It's going to be fun to watch James Franklin. Bryce said this when we were considering hiring James Franklin. Like, when you're at PKs and you see any one of our coaches, or you think of some other college football coaches, you're like, oh, that's so-and-so. I know that guy. James Franklin has like an aura about him, whether you like him or you don't like him. He's kind of like a celebrity coach. And for those unfamiliar with his game, he will light up a reporter or two. I'm very excited to see the duels that we're going to see between James Franklin and Virginia Tech media. It's going to be must see television. So, all right. So I'm going to pick out of this.
On that?
Yeah, please do.
There's definitely, like, here's the thing. Okay, Penn State, Virginia Tech, we've seen it all week. There's a sour grapes vibe cast over a portion of the Penn State fan base about this hire because of from what you just described. Because he's a celebrity, because he's famous, because he's a well-known figure in college football, because he's on Pat McAfee and he's on SportsCenter getting hired, getting interviewed. And James Franklin understands Virginia Tech is a lot like Penn State. I think James Franklin is going to love Virginia Tech more because of the differences between Virginia Tech and Penn State. Because Penn State has what you could call unrealistic expectations or a higher standard because they do have more history that is quantifiable. They have a bigger enrollment. They have a bigger stadium. Virginia Tech, you could argue, it is small time compared to Penn State. Now, if you rewinded 15 years, you could probably make the argument that we were on the same plane or Virginia Tech was even higher because of the sanctions Penn State was in and the hole that they were in. I get the general vibe and the general aura that James Franklin will appreciate Virginia Tech more because Virginia Tech's fan base and general culture and vibes is a little bit more down to earth than that of Penn State. I think Virginia Tech it's rooted in Southwest Virginia. It's rooted in mainly Virginia. And I think Penn State, you get a lot of Philly and you got a lot of Jersey and you kind of just get a lot more attitude and a lot more edge. And I think Southwest Virginia and Virginia as a whole, you might have a little bit more down to earth affiliated with that Virginia Tech culture. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that kind of plays out between like even the reporters around Virginia Tech aren't going to battle with James Franklin. I just don't see it. I mean, we'll see what happens with like Berman, but I don't see Berman or Mike Barber, but like I don't really see James Franklin making headlines for interactions that he has with the Virginia Tech media. What I'm interested about and what I'm intrigued about is the parts of the fan base that, in a loss or when things might turn sour for Virginia Tech, like what components of this fan base are going to be the first ones to throw stones because of James Franklin's just overall, the perception of showmanship and, just kind of how he's a personality. I'm interested to see kind of like who from the Virginia Tech side of things is going to react negatively first. Because right now, like I would say we're, 99% moving in the right direction here. And, we got nowhere to go but up, but it's always interested to see the dynamics of the fan base, with the regime and how the pendulum swings.
There will be ups, there will be downs. And I think your point is extremely well taken. The fact that James Franklin is going from somewhere that has a let's call it what it is, Northeast following, right? With really high expectations that he set. And it kind of turned into a little bit of a toxic environment. Is some of it based upon the way that things have worked out the last couple of years? Sure. Is some of it have to do with a rabid and somewhat kind of crazy fan base? Sure. I think Virginia Tech is so desperate for any type of success. It doesn't mean that we care any less about winning. It just means that, I think he seems like a guy that we're really going to embrace, but he also has the credentials to be excited about his future coaching college football here in Virginia Tech. To answer your question, I'm going to pick the winner here, and I'm going to go with AJ. I'm going to go with this marching Virginian who showed up at the airport. We love the marching Virginians. Thank you for sticking him back. Thank you for everything that you do. Next time you head to the airport, next time you head to Benny's, next time you head wherever, do so in a Roback polo, quarter zip, or sweatshirt, please shoot us a DM. We will make sure that you get your Roback gift card. So appreciate you writing in. Appreciate you being a part. Last thing before we do letters from Let's Play on Sharky shoutouts. So we are going to do our event for this UVA game. We strongly encourage everybody to check out our Section 5 club. With Coach Franklin being here, Pat and I have had some conversations around the Maryland game, around the Cal game, around basketball, like the events, everything surrounding Virginia Tech football. We're going to keep pushing and keep making awesome. And we highly encourage you guys to check out the Section 5 club. It'll be linked in the YouTube and in the Spotify and Apple podcast description. For just a cup of coffee a month, you can help fuel those experiences. I am looking back at going to the Vanderbilt game. I am looking back at going to the South Carolina game. Here's the great part. We're going to do those events and they're going to be awesome. But I think we're going to be in a better position to win the actual football games. Unfortunately, we can't win the football games for you. However, it seems like we brought in a guy who can win those football games. So we'll still have the same kick-ass awesome events, and we'll be in a position to win these football games. Giveaways, monthly newsletter, all sorts of awesome stuff, bells and whistles. We just gave out a bunch to our newest members. You'll be getting hit up from us to hear about that. And all Section 5 members, keep an eye on your email because we will be reaching out regarding Charlottesville. So check us out, Section 5 Club, Sons of Saturday. Would love to have you be part. Sharky. Letters from the lunch pail.
Oh, letters from the lunch pail. I was moving to Sharky shoutouts. We got a few letters here.
I just picked one of them here, Pop fan account. It's kind of funny that he asked this question. Who gets to start, Pop or Kyron? If it's up to me, I'm starting Pop Watson. That's Pat. Pop. It's Pat making his poppy pop. Sharky shoutouts. I got to shout out my guy Bryce at the wedding, dude. Pat interviewed Bryce. He ran the football 100 miles to I don't even know where the hell he ran it to. He ran it to somewhere. Raising money. It was great to see him. I'll tell you what, it was fun this whole weekend, being back in a position where people are bought in and fired up about football. I had one interaction that got me in trouble. We were at the wedding. We ran into one of Jay's really good friends who happened to be a Penn State grad. And while we were introducing each other, she said, oh, yeah, I went to Penn State. And zero hesitation. I was just I didn't use the word screwed, but I did say, you are so screwed. Jay did not like that. Not one bit. Thankfully, she found it funny. So shout out to her. But every Hokie fan at this wedding, this is a heavy Hokie wedding. Just everybody's like, dude, we got him. We're so back. We got him. It's the most excited, fun, jovial, fired up this fan base has been in so long. I'm so excited, man. Not to make this about me and us for a second, but it's been pretty tough covering 6-6 football seasons every year. It's been a challenge. It's been a tremendous challenge. And for the opportunity to get together and get in Section 5, and for all of you who travel so far for the games, tune in every Saturday. Some of you have families, some of you have, tickets are expensive and everything. To have a reason for the season, aside from I will go drink beers with my friends and maybe we'll win, to, people nationally care about Virginia Tech again. It's fun that the logo is going to mean something again. So I'm excited, fired up.
And that is going to mean a lot to our guy, Clark Ruland. Clark, I want to tip my cap to you for hitting 300.
Legend.
300 games for Clark. That is an astounding statistic. I'm probably coming up to 100 at some point. I feel like I'm close to 100. Maybe I'm closer to 150. I don't know. I'm not tracking like Clark. Clark, we need a CRM or some tool. We need to know your spreadsheet tracker that you have logged to all these games. And I'm sure there's some pivot tables and stuff hey, October 17th, 2004, we were wearing orange socks, maroon tops, white pants, orange maroon lids. There's definitely some form of pivot table that Clark has out there that keeps all this stuff together. Shout out Memento, great app. I know that's tracking all that as well. But Clark, that's awesome, man. I'm excited that 300 could be the James Franklin salutations game in Lane. And 301, I'm sure we'll see you on Saturday in Charlottesville. I'm excited for 302 and beyond, I will say. And could be special. So let's make it special.
That's podcast. If you're still here, comment a turtle in the emojis for Coach Franklin the Turtle. And coming up tomorrow, Jake Malasek. I'll be interviewing him. Coming up Tuesday, we will be doing our UVA Hate Week preview. That's always one of my favorite podcasts of the year. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. And also, I do want to say, man, shout out to Pat. Last day being 30 years old, embarking on 31 tomorrow. Fired up for you, man. Ice cream, carrot cake, cheesecake, campus cookies, whatever to celebrate. Make sure y'all tweet and let Pat know happy birthday in the replies.
Thank you, guys. All I want is a win on Saturday, so let's hope for it. Billy Ray, hope to see you tomorrow, and we'll see you this weekend, my friend.
See you in Charlottesville. Maybe see you tomorrow. Peace, guys.